Oh my God. Oh, songs.
We're kind of assuming they can hear us, so hi everyone.
Soon you can hear us,
We
people.
are here.
We are the Flower Children. The song has played. We've welcomed you to the podcast.
We're in the back of our tour bus again. This has become our podcast studio, as you know, and this is where we will get out on scene, out in outside soon, and we'll get out of the back lounge here soon. But right now, we're not going to do that. But we're just getting things are going great.
Things are going great.
Yeah,
Couldn't ask for anything more.
Talk a little bit about a problem that happens every year.
Okay.
Every year we receive these. They're lovely. They say who we are.
Yeah.
We get in and out of venues with these, and they have our own personalized names on the bottom every year.
All right.
I lose mine. Now,
me too.
This year is no different.
I lost mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've all lost them, but guess what? This year,
We came back.
we found them. So that's it. That's all I want to say. Thank you, Paul Holland. That's Bob's. Bob, either way, Bob.
Well, I want to see a close up of the name.
You need to see either way.
Yeah.
Backwards,
Now, if you have an ego, you wear it like that. If you don't, you turn it around,
right?
and it just says all access. So
Then
you
you're
can go
just a
walk
regular
like that
person.
too.
Right.
Or you can just put it down here.
Right.
But then if they ask
Yeah.
about it, then you go, oh, okay.
Pull it out.
Yeah,
Some
pull it
people the side of their jeans. Very cool. Have it in their pocket.
You could cut a corner of it off and use it as a guitar pick.
You can. Also, one thing you can do if you lose this permanently, which I have done every year, you simply take some white tape and you put it at the bottom of a all access. Put your name on there, personalized once again.
Yeah,
In
but
case you're around the road with.
well, then if you're out of the venue and you try to come back in and they see it all taped up with a written name,
So it's a counterfeit pass.
you better bring an
And then
ID with you.
Okay. So you could end up in jail.
Now, I know this doesn't seem to be a riveting subject matter, but it's interesting because let me tell you, you see this thing? Okay, now we wear them all the time because of the history of losing them.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the venues, you can come in and out. No one cares about this thing. But the casinos in particular, and some venues that are just have that personality, you better have this on.
Yeah.
And if you do, no one talks to you. You can move around the campus of whatever you're involved with the venue easily. But if you don't,
You're up.
you won't get in. So rather than wonder what kind of venue is it that implements that policy, we wear them and we don't want to lose them. So
we don't want to be up shits, which is SHITTS,
right?
Creek without a paddle.
You did there.
Yeah, see it.
That was really well.
And you just have to remember to take it off when you get in the berth, or you'll strangle to death during the night.
Right.
So I do remember to do that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, it could be.
In our podcast because it's riveting, frankly.
No, but we're getting into the rhythm of the tour.
We will have guests coming in the future.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
No, we will. I have a few.
No, we'll have guests.
We used to be in separate rooms for guests. The Brady people.
Yeah, where are we going to put a guest? Right here.
Right, up here, over by Paul, over by Paul.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, but so the tour's going great. We're selling out again. The audience is still amazingly energetic, vibrant.
Stop coming.
They're alive and well, as are the groups. So we're having a lot of things. Our prediction about Cara Mia before the tour, if you remember earlier podcasts, are saying Jay's going to kill the house every time he does.
He's to the top every time.
Ended up being the truth. And here's what's cool about Jay. I like that during Jay's set, during their because he's got the voice. God, he's got it. Okay, but he acknowledges he's like Jay number 3. So in their show, he acknowledges, hey, here's the song Jay number 1 did. And he does G Crowd. He goes, hey, here's the song Jay Black did, whose name was David, but he would sound so much like Jay. We changed his name to Jay Black, and he did Cara Mia. So he gives Cara Mia kudos to Jay Black.
What has our Jay done?
And then, well, he's the guy that carries the catalog for it, so everyone appreciates the legacy.
His name is really Steve, but he is Jay.
Jay.
This guy, his name is Jay.
What Jay Renke does is really great. He is the guy now. Like, we used to go to a voice coach and he always looked at me and goes, you have no natural vibrato. But I learned something on this tour from Jay, and that if you need vibrato when you're singing like that, you just shake the mic. And it's going wah, 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 wah.
Oh,
He didn't tell me nothing. I'm looking at him.
It's that policy.
He's either got the shakes or he's looking for vibrato.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's 4.5 people out here with the shakes. I mean, we are older in the act. No, I'm not even anymore because of Troy Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Troy's 46.
Yeah.
47, I think.
But Jay told me he is the singer and Jackson Brown was like this, and so was Gary Puckett, where he does recede into his dressing room before a show and does vocal things that he learned from a vocal coach. Jay does that every day.
Jay does that.
Uh-huh. And that we respect that totally. Now, when people ask us about that, we sort of say, well, the first 3 songs are our warm up. That we do it that way.
But when we get into trouble, if we have for God
and then
a little overuse, I do have a little video I sit around.
Soft as you can. No, if you do it as soft as you can, you'll hit your high notes.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
That's the thing.
So,
other than that, you know what I used to do? I used to say I chew glass and drink sand just to mess with people. When they ask what my warm up was, I'd say, you chew a little glass, drink some sand, I feel good.
Well, out there, if I run into an issue, I just squeeze my buttons. I do, and I'll squeeze them, and then something will come out.
Hey, with the right hand, hopefully. All right, no, I didn't say that. Hey, by the way, so projects. So remember our radio show every Sunday, 97.9 The River. Download the app and listen to that. 12 noon, 10 p.m. every Sunday, Cowsills Radio, based on the podcast. Okay, that's one thing we got to mention. And also, we've been asking everyone for pictures of the band from the global era, which is circa 89 to 92. They're coming in. They're a lot of fun to look at. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Me and my perm and my extra 20 just for spite.
Extra $20 or pounds.
Purpose.
Oh, yeah, we all had extra pounds back.
No, I did it on purpose because it was fun eating a lot.
But we all look quite a bit like we came out of the late 80s into the 90s.
Most definitely.
Our look.
I had a perm. That's so 80s.
Had a perm. We had hair.
Yeah.
Dark hair. Black hair.
Not that.
It's in the 80s, it turns out.
It looked like a wig. I said, look at that hair. Especially John's. Oh, my God. He was wild back then. But those are fun pictures. Even some from the studio recorded. Every time Paul's on an instrument, it's the global, it's the Roland D50. He was Mr. D50.
D50 and Hammond.
So, keyboard, but Cocaine Drain is bass for you. Is that right?
Yes.
My bouncing instrumental brother.
That would be how it would be.
And then he took the role of lead vocalist on Rhythm of the World. We're working up from now you're lead vocalist.
Yeah, now he's
right.
He's like global. Now we got Cocaine.
I just have to live long enough and I'll have my own bands.
Yeah. I think you should change your name to Jay.
Yeah, right.
You can be one of the Jays.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Like he said, his own band has always been the Cowsills.
That's right.
I had the cover band, but I had to do that just to make money.
So
what else?
Halidon.
So, people have responded, said, we kind of like your little walk down memory lane in history. And a lot of our memories seem to be a lot of other people's memories also, the common ones. So last week, I think we did Indian Avenue. Yeah.
Yes.
So from Indian Avenue, we moved for whatever reason. Did you ever know why we moved?
No.
But all of a sudden, we're moving again.
Things probably get ugly.
It's a little, island, but this is our fourth.
I mean, were we tight in Indian Avenue?
Yeah.
6.
We were way tight.
We were tight.
We had a good
have something
4 in a bit. You're right.
Safety staircase.
We were still
that was for a while, but Paul's right. I mean,
it was right before we left. I think
this is our 6th house.
Yeah.
Our 6th house in Newport. The years.
I would like to. Could I lead this one off because it is kind of a thing, and you may or may not remember it.
This is like 1968, guys.
No, it's way earlier. I'm making my first communion. Making my first communion, though. So it's got to be 66.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 60 before we moved to New York.
Right.
Guess what? So I'm making my first communion.
Okay.
And Dad comes to me and says, guess what? Big day, your first communion. You're going to marry Jesus, number one. And then we're going to go see the new house as part of my day. Do y'all remember that?
No.
We did. After first communion, the exciting thing that was going to happen, we take pictures out in front of Lake St. Lucy's. We get in our regular clothes and we head up. And we all went up to see the new house.
I remember the trip.
Trust me, it was the same day. It was like this big day for me because I got to get out of my dress so quick and into my jeans because we were heading out. And we went up and saw the new house. And Dad told me it was a castle for me. And that's what I wanted to share. It was not.
Oh, that's pretty
What we didn't realize when we got there was that there was a grass tennis court built in right into the back of the house.
What that leveled up thing was?
When it came up like that and it was level and
is that made to make a badminton tennis moment?
I think it was a tennis court.
I do too. I used to. I bet I
became a sledding field.
Oh my God!
I think we did all of it.
This was if you want to look, you can Google Halidon Hall
and see
HALIDON, and you can see the house. It's huge.
That was a cool thing.
3 or 4 floors, I don't remember. But we occupied the first 2 mostly.
Three floors.
It had a gigantic raspberry grove. I've got to say, it wasn't a bush; it was a whole happening, and they were incredible.
It was on 6 acres back then, which is a lot of acres. We all we could have had our own bedroom. Okay, definitely. There were enough bedrooms in the house to have your own bedroom. But we decided to do what we did. Bill had his own bedroom. Me and Paul took a bedroom.
I got my own for the first time.
You had your own?
For the first time, because John and I were in Indian Avenue.
So Barry and John were in that one Halidon Hall room. So Barry and John must have had a room.
They had the 3rd floor. They were the 3rd floor. Me and John went up to the 3rd with Dickie. Yep. Yeah. Dickie had the big room to the left on the 3rd floor.
Yes, where he had his monkey.
Yeah, a monkey there.
He used to shake.
It froze in the winter.
Shook in the cage when he walked by it. That always freaked me out.
Oh, no, I'll bet. Where did he go to buy a monkey?
Went with
mail.
It was in a magazine,
and it's
sent away.
Right?
No, me and Rich went down right by Cardine's Field. Is a huge post office there. Right. We went in, and there was a gigantic cage, and the freaking monkey was there. And it was a spider monkey.
I'm gonna say there's no way you could buy a
mailbox. They're thinking mailbox.
I mean, it was shipped.
Oh yeah,
on a plane to Rich in a cage.
Yes,
there's no way you're going to be able to buy a monkey today like that.
Never.
Mom, I remember telling Mom that couldn't happen, and she was like, "Yes, they do ship animals in the postal."
And it died the winter of '66.
Yes, because
'67
when we left.
Before '66, then it died.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now let's see. I'm a junior in high school.
The hamster in the wall too.
I'm a junior in Middletown. In the front door. When you walked into the front door of this place, there was a pool room.
Yeah.
With a pool
table. Room, they called
it. Billiard room with a billiard table, pool table in it. We spent just so many hours.
And a beautiful fireplace that had the most amazing tile. And I would lay next to the fireplace just to watch them play because they couldn't play because I was too little. I don't remember any of that.
In the big room, it was a living room, but also was a formal dining room that we turned into a ping pong table room.
Yes, the ping pong room.
So we had that. That was often used also there. Floor to ceiling mirrors like all over the place.
Yeah, ceiling to ground.
You couldn't heat it other than get to in the winter. It was very cold. Get to the radiators only did so much
because they were along the side of the house. You could lean up against it.
And the house had quite a bit of. It was really sparse as the weight of furniture.
So it didn't
have a lot. And then actually during that winter where we had no heat, Dad started breaking all of the furniture up and putting it in the fireplace, and we all went to school smelling like
smoke. But we were never really asked to go to our rooms for anything flammable.
Well, here's the thing: our bedroom, this place was so big, and it had gargoyles on the outside. It was made of stone and all that. We all had fireplaces in our bedrooms. Okay, yeah. So everyone's got a fireplace, and we did use them functionally. Mm-hmm. We did use them. I mean, yeah, he probably broke up all furniture. That sounds like Dad. But then we had some supply of some kind of wood burn.
But here's the thing. He broke the furniture up because he found out the heat was off. And it just worked out that it could go in the fire.
He hadn't paid the bill and couldn't pay the bill.
Something like that.
Broke up all the stuff.
But it was great. Every morning, we had to set the alarm 6 o'clock for school. But we'd get up, we'd go down to the kitchen ASAP because Mom had it warm.
Yeah.
Oatmeal and raisins.
She opened the oven, left the door open, heated the kitchen.
It was a Glencoe oven.
Glencoe oven. and it was either going to be oatmeal cream of wheat with raisins,
or oatmeal and
hopefully
raisins and toast.
oatmeal with raisins, maybe oatmeal and cream of wheat without raisins, maybe oat of wheat once you combine the oatmeal and the cream. Running. Ralston was rough.
Not happy about the Ralston.
I liked Wheatine and
I
Ralston.
know you did. I remember you saying.
So
it.
did you like Ovaltine because they pushed Ovaltine on us? Chocolate.
Well, that was Captain Midnight got us the Ovaltine.
I did like the Ovaltine flavor. I was a little off for me.
It was very off.
Yeah.
Nestle's makes the very
Captain
best chocolate.
Midnight had commercials, and he was the guy selling Ovaltine.
Oh, you wanted the ring.
Well, I can't put that down. I ate bread that only because Carl Yastrzemski's face was on the cover.
Right.
But Yaz bread or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Things were fun back then. We had the backyard was big enough for a softball field.
Which we used.
And we used it all the time.
Mm-hmm. There were games.
A home run was into the trees in the back. And even today, if you drive up the driveway up Harbor, up of Wellington Drive and go up this house is in it now. The Sullivan's house is still there, but that's where we sled. You could sled. Everyone sled.
We had two sledding hills, front and then the back, which went down
the road.
Yeah, and that kind of slammed you right into the red barn.
Well, the front one was long and graceful down to Wellington Avenue. You had to walk up the driveway.
That was nice.
And they could accommodate a lot of people. In the back, you got in line because we built a snow ramp. At the bottom, it went straight, and then it was a cliff drop. And it dropped at the bottom of the bottom of a wall of a barn. So we built the snow ramp to go up the barn wall, and you could either steer your sled off and crash it, or you just bail your sled and let the sled go.
The truck ramps that you see on the highway where it'll take them up.
But this was all intentional, and you had to run because it's all. I don't know. I don't know what the contest was. Maybe just getting up the ramp. You ran,
sledding.
You dropped. You went as fast as you could down the thing. You got up that ramp as fast as you could, but you bailed or stuck with the sled to the very end. And that, I don't know, you did that over and over.
And it was a saucer. There were at one point, one winter, whatever, 1 week, was toboggan, sledding, and saucer runs. Okay, they made the saucer was the launcher because you go down that thing, and then when the poof happens, you're hanging on.
Yeah, you could get crazy.
You could get hurt on the saucer. I enjoyed the saucer.
And the crazy thing about Halidon Hall, that it wasn't just Halidon Hall. We had a house, a huge house. I mean, a house that anybody would love to live in. It was called Erie Cottage, and it was right in front of us. And actually, Bill and Karen, they lived just across from Halidon Hall in the back.
And the horse
was where they
house,
stayed. And so, wow, we had quite a.
There was an apartment above the garage back.
It was a compound. It really was.
Erie Cottage was great.
Yeah.
So the driveway up was so fantastic that when we moved there, if you had a snow day, but the plows got through and everyone was going to school, oh, too bad. We didn't because the plow couldn't get up our driveway and we couldn't get it down it. Yeah. So we often had snow days when the rest of the school system.
Where the snow day came from.
Yeah. And man, you just mitten up, out you go. Boot up, come back in,
2 sets of
put the mittens on the radiator.
When we were younger.
We put so many things on the radiator when we come in.
To dry up.
Water dripping all over the place, but they didn't care.
Did you guys have an alternate? Because I had 2 snowsuits. She'd put one on the heater, stick me in the other one, send me back out, come in wet, take that one off, put it on the heater, stick me in another one, and send out.
We did not have snowsuits.
I did.
No, I believe you did.
We're on our own.
Yeah.
No snowsuits for the boys.
And we went sledding and sledding and sledding and sledding.
We were sledders.
It was softball in the summer and sledding in the winter.
And one year you made igloos and you put the snow in something there was somebody, Dickie then. Somebody was making an igloo out of shoe boxes, Paul. Packing snow in, making a square, snow, making a square. Yeah.
I think that was Indian Avenue though.
Oh, that's right. Igloos were earlier.
Sorry, igloos.
Yeah.
Igloos, no.
Yeah, we weren't fighting it, Howell. No, there weren't war.
Our igloo creation, that started.
Foundational places.
Igloo started in Ohio. We started making excellent igloos in Ohio where we had roofs and doors and we knew how to. You get a box and you pack it. We had to have the right snow, but we did.
It required the right snow for sure.
Packable snow. I've seen it happen though, you guys. These guys made it.
We get a slat for the roof, and then on top of the roof, you got a roof now. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Igloos were fun.
So, what's a memory of Halidon Hall for either one of you guys? Give a good story, Susan.
Oh, you kick it. A good story is that Mom used to make Barry, John, and Susan lunches. We used to either eat lunch. Okay, we went to St. Augustine School, which was down at the bottom of the hill in the Fifth Ward. Our house was up on the top hill, and we would walk that back walkway down to the school. And sometimes you were with us. Oh, that was church. So Mary, yeah. Barry, and John would go down this back thing to our school every day. And I don't know if it was because we didn't have the money for the lunch, but a lot of times Barry, John, and I had to walk back up and go get lunch at home. And there would be tomato soup and cheese. It was great. Grilled cheese, tomato soup sandwiches, and then walk back down to that flipping school. Now, look, we were second. I'm in second grade, so we're second, fourth, and probably fifth, something like that. We were very capable of walking. But that was a lot of walking for little kids, little short legs, and back in time to get to school. I never figured out how we were doing that. And that's something I remember, yes. Not so fondly, except for the getting to the food part. And I know we had food.
Well, that's absolutely riveting. Hey, 2 words: sea snarks.
Oh, yeah.
Dangerous thing.
I just won the challenge.
I'll sit back like Paulie just did.
The challenge.
Two mobs, Bob.
All right. So sea snarks.
Yes.
So our friend Alamanya, he's a genius who's going to invent Tweezer Man later in his life. But right now he's just this quirky guy, and he finds these sailboats that he thinks are going to be a big deal, and he comes to our dad with the idea of these. They're called sea snarks. And Dad says, I got kids, bring them on. So Dal brings whatever, 3 or 4 sea snarks to Halidon Hall, and we take over. A sea snark is an individual sailboat that you can carry over on your head.
Made out of styrofoam.
Styrofoam and a nice sail.
And a centerboard.
Centerboard, everything you need to have a good time off of Kings Park. Because we walk down the driveway and we would set sail off of Kings Park right there. And off would go. With purpose,
Newport Harbor.
With purpose. The purpose of leaving Kings Park Bay is to intercept the ferry.
Yeah.
Now, back then, there's no Newport Bridge, so take that out of your vision, guys.
Right.
People, there's nothing in the sky but the sky. But there are 2 ferries going back and forth.
Are you kidding right now?
Between Jamestown and Newport.
We tried to get it stopped or at least blow its horn.
Here's the rule every sailboater knows. Sailboats have the right of way. The right of way. Any sailboat has the right of way.
Okay.
Even if you're a tiny sea snark and you're up against a big giant ferry, the sea snark has the right of way.
You knew this.
Well, it wasn't against the law to get in front of the ferry.
I heard later.
Yeah, you're being crazy. Well, we were crazy. But we're like 14, 15, 16. This is good.
They're brave.
So we're going out. The goal is to make the ferry honk the horn. That's your goal as the sea snark. Because he's going to see you. And what you did is the most exciting honk of a horn.
Did you get the honk?
It's like when you're on the highway and when your kids, you put your arm out and you go like that, and the trucker honks the horn.
Yeah.
This is that in a bigger way, because when you're close to the ferry, you're too close. That's why he's honking. So it's like in a movie, if you see the big ship coming at the little boat, that's what it looks like.
Okay.
And once it honks, you got to hightail it out of there. He honked you off.
So do you have a wee engine? How are you doing this?
No, we have a
rudder wind.
drives it.
Oh, sail the thing.
Yes.
Now what you did, but you're out. You're away from Kings Park. When you make the ferry honk, you got to take a right-hand turn away from the ferry and go to Thames Street now. Yep. Get up on Bannister's Wharf or Bowman's, any of the wharfs. Get out. No, just get up.
Get out of the water. Get your sailboat and put it on your head.
Walk up Thames Street, right?
Take a right in Wellington.
Take a left to Halidon Hall, or if you're going home, but you'll go back to Kings Park and do it all again.
So you think you'd go in a day? 3?
Do it in an afternoon. I don't know, a couple of times.
Well, we used to go around that whole thing with our sea snarks, but
it was easy to walk.
The thing was, we knew it was against the law, and when we did get that whistle blown and all that, we would not just walk home with our sea snarks. We ran home with those things on top of our heads, and we were just running down things. I wish somebody had a picture of that.
No,
right?
You know what? Because back in those days, there's no internet, so there's nothing. But you're worried if someone going to report the incident.
And they knew the Cowsills boys.
And they knew us, and that would have been very.
They have been reported before off of Thames Street earlier in their youth for other.
We were like white trash moving into high society and still acting as if we were still white trash.
There you go.
That's the truth. We're talking about
income for people.
Yeah. But this is great. Summers were great. Now we're playing at Doreen's on Bannister's Wharf, so we got a gig. We're playing a gig. We're going to Second Beach all the time.
All the time. The McGann girls coming up.
although we're hanging at Kings Park
Barbara
because we're
McCann.
at Kings Park. There's a little Myers Lakeness to it because out off of the pier, off of the yacht club, was a pier with a diving board.
Yeah,
No, I don't think it had a diving board. You could swim off.
We knew this
jump
was
off.
legal for us to
Get
jump
into
off.
that,
Yeah,
and that was cool.
that was the
Hussey's
House. Yeah,
food.
Mr. Hussey,
Great
best,
beach
the
food.
best.
pizza, best fries.
And Mr. Hussey was the guy who changed all of the candy machines all around Newport. And he'd come to the
Yeah.
boys' club to change out that one. And we'd all be hovering around him and he'd just be putting Butterfingers
Because
up,
we were
bit of
neighbors.
honeys, and this whole thing. But I've got a memory, and it was a Christmas memory. And I remember Dad and Ford. What was his name? Daryl. Daryl Ford and Dad. They went out and they were real excited. It was Christmas, and they were buying Mom a brand new washer dryer setup.
Good stuff.
And so they came up. It was, it was later in the evening. I'm thinking it was 8 or 9 because we were still outside on Christmas Eve. So, that was a little different. And man, they pulled up that truck and they pulled the truck up and they both got out and they were yahooing and all that. And that truck went backwards right down the hill, right into the Fifth Ward.
Oh my God, went that way. Oh,
it went
God.
that way, right down and over. And, that was our dad. No, they jumped out so excited, and we've all done it. Actually,
It sounds like
jumped out of a rig.
yeah.
But man, leave it to
Sounds like they
Dad.
may have just
I jumped out and my kid was in it at a
Yeah.
gas station rolling away from me.
Yeah,
I had to dive in
It
the
sounds
front.
like they may have just come from Dory
I think they might have stopped by for a libation.
after they loaded it up, right?
They were so proud of themselves and how happy Mom was going to be, and now
So
her washer.
happened?
You know what? I can't really remember that. Obviously, we might have been laughing, and Dad didn't laugh, and then we probably were told to go in the house and. Sometimes they got it out. It was 9 o'clock. It was dark, But yeah, I wondered too. Did they call the tow truck? All I know is when I went to school, because I went to Thompson Junior High, which is in town, and I'd walk there every day. Man, everybody knew that washer and dryer dropped down to the Fifth Ward. And the funny thing is, the Fifth Ward is where we should have owned a house in the Fifth
Yes,
Ward.
that's where we belong.
And somebody else should have lived up in Halidon
Yes.
Hall. But for whatever reason, we were there. And so now we're these people, because we moved from Middletown High, and now we're going to these other schools. Bob, you stayed at Middletown, I guess, to finish out because you were senior. Well, I got pulled out of there in ninth grade to Thompson. Thompson's junior high was ninth, and it was 8th and 9th grade.
Yeah.
And so I went there in the 9th grade because I went to 8th grade at Middletown High. And so, yeah, it was kind of hard making friends at the beginning, but it all proved fine.
We were Newport material.
We weren't Halidon Hall material.
Yeah.
If we had just moved in the Fifth Ward, I think we would have been accepted. They were all my friends,
Absolutely.
eventually.
Even our dog Curly preferred the Fifth Ward. Our dog went to the Fifth Ward every day and hung out in the Fifth Ward.
He did.
I mean,
Okay, I have a memory. It's not a really good
we were
one.
kind of embarrassed, I think. I think there was a little bit of like, doing up here?
Right. We felt belonged in the Fifth Ward, and the Fifth Ward let us know it one year when we came back from tour, and we had done milk commercials this year. So the American Dairy Association brought us on to represent selling milk, and that also came along with being in weekly readers in school and also on some billboards in some towns and some cities. Well, our very own Newport, Rhode Island on Wellington Avenue had a beautiful milk commercial ad of us.
Oh, did they?
Yes, I'm about to tell you. You don't remember this? And one year we come home and we come down Wellington Avenue, guys. And I don't know if obviously you're not jumping to this.
I do remember that. And we went and graffitied it. We put mustaches on all of us.
Was somebody had put boobs on Mom.
Oh, well, there you go.
Somebody on the thing, and then you guys, I think Dad told you to get up there and fix it, let's graffiti it now because it's messed up and we can't have your mother up there alone messed up.
Right.
That's how I remember that. I don't know how. I know it happened. I remember seeing it to the left. It was 2 U's and 2 dots, and that's what it was. And Dad was like, whoa. And Mom started laughing, and Dad got mad at Mom for laughing. She's like, what, who cares? She could her last. And Dad was, and you guys, something about I remember it. So remember that.
I remember we were in our bedroom. Paul and I had a bedroom.
See?
It was great.
Backstory.
We got in a fight.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah.
It could have been the radio, anything. But we got in a fight. Now, when we got in a fight, we rarely did, but when we did, we did. And I guess I was the one only because it depends on whose bed we're going to dismantle. So this fight, we're Paul's so mad that he's going to dismantle his bed and take it up to the third floor because there's always a room you could go to and reassemble it there.
Right.
And I'm so mad I'm going to help him. So we did it.
I'm in the room next door watching and listening.
Sheets come off, the mattress come off, spring comes off. We undo all the wood. We relocate the entire piece, all the pieces.
They're marching with giant pieces
to the third
of bed.
floor, reassemble the bed up there, and he spends the night up there, and I spend the and the next day we make up, and we have to redo the whole thing in reverse because we
Bring it
made
all
up
back
the next
in.
day. These are like junior high and high school brothers acting like this, but that's what happened, and I wish I could remember what that was all about.
I knew you to pass my door, and I left.
We had a great room.
We could have been saying, "You stupid, idiotic."
But we had a radio on the floor, yeah, especially in the winter. You had that radio within arm's reach to if it was going to snow. You had to turn the radio on to see if your school was closed. That's where you're going to find out if you're getting
from Salty Brian.
From Salty Brian on WPRO.
Yeah.
But all the great songs we had that on in the we just
Mom had it
on every morning
too.
When we woke up and just get up to that radio. And
there were radios.
It was great.
I remember going into town. I took a lot of crap from people about that house, so sure. I was in a lot of fights.
Big mansion, right? Yeah. Big mansion on the hill.
People are going, "How do you think you are? Yeah, mother wears army tights." Somebody said something bad about my mother, man. I was on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. This is junior high behavior.
Yes.
Now the high schoolers, my friends, know who I am. I mean, I'm nobody. But they know where I live. So at any moment, a car full of 4 of them come up to Halidon Hall and no one's calling anyone. They just show up.
Nobody calls.
We shoot pool in that room. Yeah. We go up to the roof and we all sit on the roof and do nothing.
Yeah.
And then they leave. So we had that kind of.
We also used to have rehearsals on our porch. We had this giant porch that wrapped around the entire house. Yeah. And we would rehearse out there. And then pretty soon, as things acclimated.
That's where I auditioned, by the way.
The kids,
to get in again.
Halidon Hall. For me, I was
we took a big step musically in
listening. Our neighbors would come and sit on the lawn and listen to us play, and they sort of got over being mad at us when that started happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the weather got nice, we could open these windows, which were large, and the screens.
I want to hear about this.
The screen door was happening,
and everything. All the screens were up, and the sound just went right out over the harbor. Even today, with the internet, we can get a message from a kid who sat on that lawn and lived in that neighborhood and remembered those moments.
Yes. You'd hear it in their house, ask permission to leave and come on up.
Because we didn't have to hit record, but if you were getting signed and even dropped from 2 labels, and that's happening in this little tiny town, that's big news, even if it didn't work out. Like, they don't know the nuances of the people don't know what you're going through. They think, and it's true, the next one was coming with us, and we finally have Rain in the Park. And
right, but before that, even everybody knew that something was happening because you guys were playing at the Bastille, which was a Middletown Newport gathering place.
We played at Rogers or Thompson. Which one was that?
We played at Rogers High School. We all did a show at Rogers, you guys.
Then we also did that Christmas thing right on the guy who wrote Clemens Moore. He had a house there in Newport, and we were on his porch.
We did something
doing that Christmas.
We played at Middletown High School.
Yeah,
at a dance or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think people knew what was kind of happening,
and most of all got played on WPRO. So that was kind of wasn't a hit.
No, it wasn't. But again,
something.
Yeah.
Have music coming out of their houses. There were a group of girls up on Indian Avenue that were from the Mayfair stables, the horse stable up the road, and those girls started coming. They would ride by on Indian Avenue, and they'd hear this music, and so they started clopping down. People knew we were in town.
The back door, leaving out the back door of Halidon Hall, was a huge arbor that was covered with Concord grapes.
Yeah, that was cool.
And man, when they were green, we used them as weapons, but once they turned purple, then they were edible, and they were the best Concord.
Not mistaken. Oh, yes, they did. Him and David Ray. There was whining down in that freaking basement. I remember seeing them go down, pulling up the thing. They're walking down with their... Yeah, they did.
Concord isn't really the grape you make wine out of, but then Dad would have known that.
Ask David. David,
it's usually a Zinfandel or...
Now, it's funny. I have this Richard memory now because everyone who knows our history knows that Dad and Richard, nothing's going to change between these two from the time he's
No
three to
bueno.
the time he's dead. Okay, that's just how it was. So I come home.
The dad's dead, not Rich dead.
Right.
Either
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
right.
They're both dead.
Yeah, they are.
But I come home and I come into the kitchen through the grapes, and come into the kitchen to get something, and Dad's sitting at the table, and Richard, he's passed out on the floor at Dad's feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's passed out.
Oh, well.
Totally out. And Dad looks at me and goes, "Yeah, his friends just dropped him off."
Uh-huh.
And I just want to leave,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so
Is he just waiting for him to wake up?
no, I do exactly what I wanted to do. I said, "Oh, wow," and I left. So I went to bed.
And you don't know what happened?
Yeah, the next day, I'm busted by this guy, Dad, because I didn't help my brother to bed.
Oh,
That I left him there on the floor.
He got mad at you for this?
I got busted and really vibed out. He was more of a viber back then. He was terrible. But anyway, sometimes he was great. But this time he was terrible. And he got me. Well,
No, keep going.
The one Christmas he was great.
So I will tell you though, and you guys got to agree, he was great at all the houses we
finding
put us beside him. You've been parking a whole day.
It's true.
And he always worked. He had 2 jobs, 3 jobs.
Work ethic cat.
Work ethic plus.
For his family.
Yeah. I remember one time at Halidon Hall, Mom came to us all and goes, "You got to go get your father." And we were going, "Well, why? And he had been painting, and Mom said, "Well, the fumes of the paint, have made him a little groggy. So would you go pick him up?" And so we get to this place.
It's lunchtime with his beer.
We get to this place, and Dad is just drunker than a skunk, and he's just laying there, and we're looking at each other, and man, I remember I kicked him one time just because yeah. But we had to get him up and get him in the car and get him home, and at
your father from the fumes.
We did well,
But this was the days of that.
I know it was oil-based paint, but he was a dream.
No, I had to get him once. From Paul Schwab's house.
Yeah.
And so I had to go get him from.
Yes.
We were hanging out at Paul Schwab's house all the time. So I think they had the money, and Mike Bove, the people, the group.
The Boves, the Schwabs.
So we're out at Schwab's, and they just drink all the time. This. And I had to bring Dad home, and I had him in Biggie's car, I think, still.
Oh, the Valiant.
Yeah, or maybe in another car at Halidon, but I had him in.
Yeah.
And he's in the passenger seat. He's throwing up out the passenger.
He was a pretty easy
on the way home. He was a smiley guy. He didn't get too angry at me anyway. He was always slap happy. It's a little weird as a drunk,
Weird.
He wanted you to do your thing, and he was weird.
Yeah, I mean, but really, the only time we ever, and the only time we really ran into, and I had this discussion with Bill because I was talking about years in Forest Avenue and this and that, and he was always 3 sheets to the wind, as I like to say. Anytime we got into trouble and it became overboard a punishment,
of course,
that was just a guy.
The overreaction.
Yeah. And maybe on the next episode, or if we don't have a guest, we can move on to Forest Avenue, which is an interesting thing there.
Backing up.
We'll hold those stories for Forest Avenue.
That's very strange.
Yeah. Dark.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, now our memories are dark, but I will tell them one thing. Years later, we drove by that house, and it had a Pentagon on the whole side wall of it.
Yeah.
And our memories
made sense to me.
Yeah, our memories aligned with
Sometimes it's just the land.
But it's funny about Forest Avenue. If we're going to talk about that, we can bring it in here. I was talking to Bill, and I was going, "Man, Bill, Dad, what a knucklehead," and blah blah blah. And then and I said, "Man, it was all the time, right?" And he goes, "Well, no, Paulie." Billy's saying to me, he goes, "No, Paulie. Forest Avenue. Don't you remember how calm it was at Forest Avenue?" And I was thinking, well, Forest Avenue. Yeah, I guess it was calm there. We'd go get the milk and all that. Mm-hmm. And so I said to Bill, I go, "Well, yeah, why was that?" He goes, "Well, because Dad hit somebody with his car and he couldn't drink anymore. And so we had a normal dad."
That makes sense. I believe that.
One time.
What happened to the person, but Billy, he didn't even want to get into it because maybe the guy died or something.
I was in on Dad one day on the end of his bed like this.
Yeah.
And I came in.
Forest Avenue.
I'm a little kid. And I went to put my hand on him because he looked sad. And he jumped. I freaked out because that's what you do when Dad moves. And he literally went, "No, no, no, no." He didn't mean it. He was like, "I just didn't know you were there. I'm okay." And I'm like, crying. And he's like, I'm okay, kid. I'm okay. And he backed me out. He was sad. He was sorry he frightened me.
Yeah.
And he was having a moment.
Yeah. And stop drinking there.
I was just the day I decided I was getting out of the house.
I don't remember a lot of that interaction on Forest Avenue. I remember the field house.
Was that Forest that I found him like that?
The field house.
Sure.
Okay.
We're biking to our Little League games on Forest Avenue all by ourselves. We got that life going on.
Yeah, it was his birthday and on a picnic.
We were out and about, man.
We were
people
streets.
Yeah. Picking rhubarb out.
Yeah. The people next door had it worse than us.
Well, down the road, the Gilchrist.
I remember you.
Perfect yard for home run derby at Forest Avenue.
Yeah.
There were three of us.
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
It was my life.
Along those things where all the rhubarb, we get the rhubarb.
Blackberry bushes out there.
Oh, yeah.
With spiders.
Yeah.
Lots of spiders, but great blackberries.
Yeah.
Great blackberries.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where I got my silver tongue.
Afraid we could.
The first silver tongue guitar with echo in the
Sears?
Silver tongue. Yeah. With the white sprinkles that was given at that. Then down the street from that house, Forest Avenue. Was that where the milk thing was?
Yes,
the dairy?
The dairy.
Okay, so now we're with Bobby Mace. We're at Bobby Mace's in his basement. I swear he lived down down the road from us. And
is there a gas station at the end of that road?
There was Carol's.
It's an early McDonald's kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. There's a gas station now though. It's right off West Main Road.
I have an Indian Avenue. So I catch a little bunny one day outside of Indian Avenue, just a little tiny baby bunny. And I bring it in and I show Mom and I'm like, Mom, I caught a bunny and it doesn't have a parent. And Mom's like, okay. And I'm like, can I take care of it till it's old enough to let it go? She says, yes. We say, where can we put such a tiny little thing? She says, how about in the top drawer of Dad and mine's Chester drawers? In some handkerchiefs of Dad's. Sounds good to me. We put the bunny in. He's tiny, guys.
Is it dead?
No, it's alive. This is a tiny baby abandoned bunny rabbit. Okay. So now we're going to nurse it. And I've got a little dropper and we're having all this fun with this. So Grandma comes to visit the next day. And this has to do with Carol's. Grandma comes to visit. She comes in, she sits down. Auntie Jane and Grandma. Oh, Grandma, Mom, can I show Grandma my bunny? Mom says yes. Mom goes to get the little freaking bunny out of the Chester drawers. She brings it into the living room in the handkerchief, goes, Ma, look. And the bunny freaks out, pops out, drops on the floor and dies right in front of me. Okay. Right. I'm 6.
Scarred.
I am now, I will never forget it. And Billy, and for whatever reason, Eileen Casey were over. And Billy came in from the kitchen. I am inconsolable. Mom's like, fuck my life. Sorry. She was very upset. She didn't know what to do. Her kid was, and Billy comes in. He goes, hey, you want to go to Carol's? And I'm like, what? He goes, Eileen and I take you for a burger and fry and shake right now. And I just cleaned it up, got myself together, got in a car with Eileen, Casey, and Billy, and went to Carol's. Now, we weren't living there.
Okay, but Eileen Casey, you mean Barbara?
I mean Barbara, not Eileen. Was there, who's Eileen?
Eileen or Walsh's, I think.
Oh, Eileen Walsh. Barbara Casey, sorry. But when we were on Indian Avenue, mind you, because I knew Carol's was out by the old house. But it was a big treat, and I loved Carol's. And I just wanted to tell you that. Dead bunny, shocked grandmother. Mom was like, we're going to make it. And a brother who saved the day.
Well, we had already lost or killed probably 5 hamsters.
Wait, I have another
that kept getting in the walls.
Wait, I have a really bad one of Indian Avenue, and I think you validated it once. So me, Barry, and John. Okay, look, at one point, you have 3 little kids. And in our house, tub time was just getting it done. So at one point, I used to have to take a bath with Barry and John. Okay, that's just how it was. And the bath time was over, and we are at, I believe we're at Indian Avenue because the bath was there, and here's me, Barry, and John's room. A white rat. Either we owned it, I don't know, but a white rat had gotten loose.
We never owned it.
And my dad, I just remember being in a bathtub, and the boys had gotten out, or maybe I was alone at that point on Indian Avenue, but Dad was coming in with a poker from the fireplace chasing this white rat. He nailed it in the bathroom. The blood spurt went in the tub, what I am in, and now the blood's pooled. Mom comes in, grabs me out of the tub. I'm screaming, and Dad is whacking on a white rat at Indian Avenue. Anybody? Bob, you said you had a slight recall of that when I mentioned it.
Okay.
Oh, he does it this time.
Well,
I mentioned it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And no, but for real, he had said, I think I
Blood in the
remember that.
That'd be hard to forget.
Well, it was for me. That was a lot that night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, we weren't in trouble, which was unusual. If dad's going to be running around doing something, it usually had to do with us, but nobody was in trouble and people were trying to save us from this moment. I remember that.
And Halidon Hall actually was, there's a picture out, and I'm sure some of you people have seen the picture where we're all sitting on suitcases and looking like we're headed somewhere. Well, we were leaving Halidon Hall never to return again. But we never got back to Halidon Hall. Oh man.
No matter what
Halidon Hall was,
Yeah, we had to leave New York for New York from Halidon Hall.
Yes.
In like 67, 68, around
which
that.
Which really broke my heart. Everybody else liked the movie. Now, Curly didn't make it.
We still kept the house. Now we're going to lose the house in the 86 bankruptcy.
86.
But we still kept the house.
76.
No, bankruptcy was 86. But we're going to lose the house before that. But while we're gone, Dal is going to run it. Dal, our friend Dal, is supposed to run the house. And I guess it just...
Party.
But after we're gone, everyone runs, everyone can go to Halidon Hall. You know, sure. Jackie Gimo's over there.
That we came from tour to Halidon Hall with a big...
And it was crazy.
Sign. Biggie told that in the documentary.
Oh,
and all the money. I don't know. He's got a great story about Halidon that I don't think happened.
Maybe it became the party house when we left. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, when I was in the Navy, Dad said, "Hey, you can go into Erie Cottage." Now Shane is like a month old or something. You're living with Mom and Dad out at that weird place.
At the farm in Exeter.
So we go there. You know, nobody said there was no heat, and so I get in there, and we got a little baby. I mean, a little baby.
Newborn is what it's called.
Yeah. And there was no heat, and so we went to April Street and got an apartment.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it to be with no heat, you know. So yeah, Dad, he had trouble keeping the oil full.
Got the farm.
Too oil.
Remember, he bought the farm at that time, and obviously still has.
So we had both at the time.
Evidently, because that's the time that Polly's at.
Yeah, all right.
The Bluebird Cottage.
I don't know exactly what year we lost Halidon Hall. It's too bad we did.
No, Dickie Biggie has a thing of, remember the Germany tour?
Yeah.
So that's 70s.
Yeah,
okay, or late.
That's
okay,
true.
And Biggie's. I know we're still owning that place. Then I know that because Biggie.
I'll tell you what. I spent many hours on the roof of that Halidon Hall. It had a captain's walk.
We should have Ira.
And one time I had one nightmare about that top floor.
Really?
I'll never forget it because all the rooms up there, I had to get to the... So you had to lower a staircase to get up on the roof. And it was up there on top of everything. It was like kind of eerie up there.
30 feet.
And so I had a bad nightmare just about all the rooms around that staircase being haunted, but really haunted. Things were going on. And I had to get to that staircase and get up it to get past it. It was just so scary. But back then they had the yacht races. So every 4 years, you know, we hit one of those yacht races up on that roof. And it was the most colorful thing I've ever seen.
Beautiful.
Down on Newport Harbor.
The Widow's Walk.
They're heading out to go out into the ocean.
And listen, this house was on fire with activity. You had all these teenagers everywhere. We had a ghost named McCormick. We were Ouija boarders.
This was a great house for Ouija boarding.
Yes, it was.
Because it was loaded. And
we were even told on a Ouija board night in Manhattan at DR3, I think you boys will remember this, that our or maybe you don't, we all have such different memories. We had a Ouija board session and that the ghost had followed us to New York City, we were told.
Oh, yeah.
And one night they said, "Where is he right now?" And somebody said, "He's in looking at Susan sleeping." And then he came in to tell me that.
We will tell you.
Yeah.
Sent me to bed.
We will tell you that Barry and I were very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all good at it. But whoever was on the Ouija board, the two who were on it, one person, this is how fast we got, was writing down every letter this thing slid to.
It was pretty amazing.
Because we could not
keep up.
If a word ended and the next one started. You know how you can get confused.
You know, the Ouija board is, and when you have a bunch of kids, the Ouija board's favorite thing to do is tell you all you're going to die tonight. It's its favorite thing to do.
I never believed in the Ouija board.
Back in
but either did Karen, Bill's first one.
Cowsills had a lot of
ghosts. I'm just going to share the experience. We're at Halidon Hall.
Go ahead.
We're doing the Ouija board. of the group of us that are in there, because even the ones the non-believers are fascinated, right? We're all in there.
Always fascinated.
Right? Karen walks in, this thing stops cold when Karen walks in the room. Okay. And we can't get it going. Serious. She goes, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, we're just doing the Ouija board." "Oh," and it won't go. It won't go. She leaves, and we asked the board, "What was that all about?" And it spelled, I'll never get it said. Our hands are moving. It spelled out, "I don't like her." Yeah. I'll never forget that.
Karen
It's true.
Queen of
Ghosts. We all saw it. Yeah,
we were there.
Weird.
And Karen had her own little ghosty story. She was always talking this stuff to the point where John and I were not allowed to go hang out with Karen before bedtime anymore because she did some stories.
She was a witch.
He's scared Dad.
She was a witch.
Well, she had a lot of kooky stuff going on, I'm not going to lie.
There was Ouija.
And good times at Halidon, my friend. His name was McCormick.
Captain McCormick.
Captain McCormick. Yeah. And he did live there. It was a guy who died on the third floor where Dickie wanted to live. Swear to God, I never understood that.
We called the roof a captain's walk, but it was really back in the widow's week or something.
Right, widow's walk, because
actually it was a widow's week
to look for their ships coming.
And if their boat doesn't come in with their man's ship, they're like, "Uh-oh, what happened?" Then they go down to the port and find out that their people are gone. Yeah. So Halidon Hall, y'all.
So Halidon Hall is cool. Look it up. You can see the pictures of it.
Yes.
I should have brought one. I could have brought one.
There was after we left there, somebody that road that the kids would take down to St. Augustine's unless they cut through houses and stuff, it became Cowsills Lane.
Oh, the access road. Yeah.
The access lives.
He lives there right down to Little Lissy now. We always visit.
It was great when we first started coming back to. When we first started coming back to Newport, we started going on Bannister's Wharf to the cookie jar. And we got to know Jay, who owns the cookie jar. And they lived on Cowsills Lane.
Yeah,
lived on Cowsills. He said it was really weird meeting someone with the name of their street, which was the reverse. Like to us, the street is the weird name.
Yeah.
To them, the street was normal, but we had the weird last name.
Yeah.
His reaction was really cool about that. That was fun.
It's kind of cool to have a street named. That's not there anymore. I can't find the sign, by the way.
But it's listed. There's also a Cowsills Street in Maryland. You can see it on the internet. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know why.
From us or from some ancient council actually did something?
I never looked into why, but you look up Maryland and there's a Cowsills Street down there.
For work.
Show where
is it Jim
Thorpe.
Awesome.
Jim Thorpe. We love it here. It's so beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Love it out here, period. Because it's our job.
Hope you guys are having a good summer. We certainly are.
We're coming up with a test, boys.
Sorry we're late this week, but we have.
That was my guess.
We were going to do a podcast where we interview each other. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.